Mrs. Scirocco, good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back on your past 2 years as Public Works Commissioner, what are your proudest achievements?
Well, I started back in 2008 was my first year in office. This will be my 5th term that I'm running for. And I guess my proudest achievements, I got numerous, but the one thing that I've stressed is the continuous work that I've done on the infrastructure in the city. I think it was important, not only with water and sewer and storm, but issues addressing city buildings that were neglected by the prior administration. So I consider that to be something that's important to the citizens of the city, the taxpayers of the city. And for example, we did the front steps of City Hall. We put those lions up there, had the front steps done in granite. We put new steps over in the casino in Congress Park. We did the same thing over there. We heated that for to keep down on maintenance, and we did the front steps there. So it was projects like that we did on city buildings, and of course, the issue with infrastructure in the city, the pipes, the water pipes, the sanitary drain, sewer. So that's really what the reason why I ran. There wasn't much being done on infrastructure in the city. So, like I said, again, from day one, that if I get elected, I'm going to improve the infrastructure in the city, and we've done that.
What do you see as the most important challenges for the Public Works Department over the next 2 years?
Again, I'm going to answer it in the same way. Infrastructure is number one in public works.
What sort of specific things, if you want to...
Say it again?
Yeah. What sort of specific things do you project that you would work on in the future if you were elected?
Well, again, I mean, currently there's 2 projects going on right now. One is a sanitary project, and the other is a water project over on Washington Street. We currently are looking on the east side. We have an RFP out right now for some drainage projects in the area of Nelson Avenue, which we've done work in the past few years. We want to expand that project over there to work on, for instance, more storm drains in the area of the racetrack. There are no storm drains in that area, so clearly something needs to be done over there. We sent an RFP out. The RFP's gone out for a design consultant to take a look at that area and give us an idea of what it is that needs to be done over there. And then we'll go ahead and we'll probably hire a contractor to go ahead and address the issues over there. But it's been a concern for a while, for a long time, of the residents over there. So that's specifically one of the projects I think we're going to be working on in the future.
Water has been a hot topic lately in Saratoga politics. Is there any way, or would you like to explain how you differ from your opponent on the issues of water?
Right. My opponent has adamantly proposed a proposal to go into Saratoga Lake to get additional water out of Saratoga Lake. Now again, we have three sources of water right now. We have the Lufberry Lake, which is our main source, which is right over here on Route 50. We have the Geyser Crest well system, and we have Interlaken system, which is out by Saratoga Lake. We also have, which we just did, the city owned, approximately 75 acres off of Ingersoll Road. There's 4 wells that we drilled out there, and those wells are capable of producing approximately 2 million gallons a day. We proposed that idea to the state health department. The state health department said, fine, go ahead and do it, because there was an issue with the city as far as source capacity. In the event of a drought, we needed to have some sort of a backup system to make the city have enough water. So that's how we solved the problem. Again, we had it designed by professional consultants. We had people come in that are familiar with the area, and we hired consultants that were familiar with the area, and then we had actually people come in and build it. We provide water to Skidmore College. Clearly, the city has plenty of water. as versus, you know, my opponent who wants to go into Saratoga Lake. You're looking at lawsuits. The city really doesn't own any property in Saratoga Lake except that little piece of property the city bought a few years ago, which is the waterfront park. And I'm sure you don't want to put a pump station down there. Again, we don't own no property on Saratoga Lake. It would be an issue of probably you'd see many, many lawsuits. You know, and of course, he's wavered on that now. He's saying, well, maybe we can go someplace else, maybe do something else. But do something else, you know, again, he was not addressing the issue. We addressed the issue, and we sent the information to the state health department. They agreed. We went ahead and drilled the wells, and we had one of the driest summers we've had in a long, long time. You didn't see any water restrictions. It was because of those wells that we did, and those wells are suffice for the next 50, 60 years. You know.
So you don't think that Saratoga needs any more additional water sources?
No.
Right.
No. As a matter of fact, we use less water now than we did 10 or 15 years ago because of the water saving faucets and toilets and all that. All the new infrastructure that's going in is all geared towards sustainability. It's geared towards saving that, you know, the natural resources, water. So, you know, we looked at that part too. And we're just not using as much water today as we did, you know, 15 years ago.
Sure.
So,
land use issues have been very important in the past 2 years. How do you think about balancing the city and the country versus the need for economic development in Saratoga Springs?
city and the country. I got behind the whole idea of the comprehensive plan. The city has to pass a comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is pretty much a blueprint on where zoning goes as far as the city's concerned, and it regulates different parts of the city. That pretty much says what the city's going to do at least for the next 10 years. I think it's every 10 years you have to vote on a new comprehensive plan. In this last comprehensive plan, there was issues with land use in the Greenbelt. I'm not in favor of commercial development in the Greenbelt. That's not something I think is going to be beneficial for the city. It's not something that we want to, at least in my opinion, that the direction the city should be going. I think we should keep commercial development in the core of the city, in the T5, T6 district, that's the business district, and promote that kind of, that economy as far as the downtown area,
right.
yes.
Right.
As far as the lake area, as far as Saratoga, I know Saratoga National, the golf course is an issue. I don't have a problem with the golf course. I don't have a problem with the hotel that they want to build. I do have a problem with commercial development in that area. And once you break that bond, once you say it's okay to do, then you just open up the door to anything else out there. So, having said that, I was opposed to any development, any commercial development in the Greenbelt.
Okay. Right.
So, and then again, it just makes a lot of sense not to go out there.
Okay.
And it helps the businesses on Broadway. It helps the businesses in the core. It keeps it from the sprawl. It keeps it from moving out.
So specifically the Saratoga National Golf Course resort that has been recently proposed, you are against or for?
Again, it's not about the golf course. Mm-hmm. There's already a golf course there.
Right.
It's a world-class golf course. It's already there. We have many golf courses in the city. That's not the only one. It speaks to the issue of commercial development in that area. If you're familiar with Exit 15, that's commercial development in my opinion, in the Greenbelt. Now, that's something that Wilton wanted to do because that doesn't belong to the city, Exit 15. Exit 14 does. Exit 14 is a gateway to the city, as well as many other roadways that come into the city. The city is like a hub, and it has all these roadways coming in. Okay. Exit 14 is one, 29 is another, Route 50 is another one off the arterial. I mean, we just kind of get all that coming in, and I guess the message that we want to send when people come in here, when they first drive into the city, is, oh my God, look at this green space, look at how beautiful this entrance is. And then when they get into the core of the city, that's when you see the businesses. But then if you want to enjoy the city and the country, you can drive out there and you can see that out there. Basically, that was my my feeling on that. So
okay. What is your stance on the proposed parking garage?
I think the city center is the city center is the economic engine that pretty much controls what happens in the business district on Broadway. It brings in different functions. It brings in conventions, that sort of thing. And without adequate parking, they just had an expansion down there. They expanded like 22,000 feet, or excuse me, 22,000 square feet. Without adequate parking, that place is going to fail. Again, I'm not opposed to the mixed use proposal that they're advocating for that parking lot.
Multi-purpose building and garage.
I'm not opposed to that. But also I believe that they need to get what they need to get. Right now, in that proposal, at least from what I can see, there's not 600 parking spaces. There's only 200 or 300 parking spaces. You got all that development that needs parking down there now, so they're gonna eat up some of that. Again, it goes right back to, if we can't provide the tools for that city center to operate under the circumstances, whether you like it or not, it's going to fail. If the city center fails, it's an economic engine, and if that economic engine fails, the city's going to fail. In my opinion, you're not going to have the influx of different conventions and things like that. We're a city of tourism. I mean, you got to remember that we're a destination, and we need that kind of what do you want to call it? We need people coming into the city, and if we don't have that, then I mean that's the purpose of that whole city center. That's the reason why they built it. And if they don't get the tools for them to do what they need to do, then it fails, and consequently the burden of city services and everything else, because we can't generate the sales tax that we need to generate, because that's where a lot of the sales tax comes from, is from people that visit the city. If we can't do that, then the burden's going to go back on the taxpayers,
right?
Which is not really fair. Right now they're doing okay, and they're saying, hey, we need more parking, and I believe they need more parking. Again, if we can come up with a proposal for the mixed use to give them the adequate parking that they need, I'm good with that. But they're kind of working through those two issues, and I know there's a lot of controversy in regards to what they want to build. We haven't even been able to get past the site plan. So they need to get past the site plan before they can come up with the design.
Sure.
I mean, that's the other piece of it. So, yes.
So what sort of additions would you be in favor of and opposed to in the multi-use parking garage that had the proposed 600 spaces?
The idea of workforce housing, I think, is a good piece of that.
So affordable housing, is that?
Workforce housing.
Is that the same thing, or?
It's the same thing in affordable housing. I think workforce housing is a better term, because it allows people to come here and work here and not be able to be so concerned, because again, Saratoga Springs is a pretty affluent community, and I think a lot of people that live here. Again, I mean, the rents are high here, right? If you go out and try to rent an apartment here, consequently what happens is people move to Wilton, they move to places that rents are, a little more affordable. You need to have a car, you need to have some sort of transportation to get back in the city. If they were to have a more, like I say, affordable housing for people that work in the city, I think it would be, it's a plus. As far as the retail, retail's okay. You got the retail in the restaurant across the street. You got some retail down there. You got some real estate people down there. I don't know how that would play with Broadway. I mean, I think the biggest component of that, and of course senior housing, that's another one. I mean, there's a lot of seniors that don't want to stay in their houses, not because they can't afford it, it's because it's just become too much for them to take on. And that's another component of it. Right. I think they put senior housing in down there. I mean, everything is going in the right direction with this thing. But again, it all comes back to, are we going to be able to provide the city center with adequate parking for them to operate? I don't think that's in there. And that actually probably will get addressed in the future, at the city council table. I'm not saying it can't be done, but as it stands right now, I don't believe that's in there, at least from what I'm seeing. In both of the proposals, it's not there. So Everything else I'm okay with. I think it's, like I said, I think it's a great idea.
Sure.
The city has that piece of property down there. I mean, some of the other things need to get worked out. Are we gonna sell it? Are we gonna lease it? How that's all, but that's all for the future. I think the concept is good. I like the concept. I like the idea of, you know, the senior housing. I like the idea of the affordable workforce housing.
Right.
And, you know, that kind of makes sense. But so does the parking garage, you know, in that respect, because it gives the city center what they need to operate. And the business people down there are crying for that. They want that because they know that they could bring in bigger functions, because like I said, the city center just expanded for another 22,000 square feet. They can't bring in the functions down there because they don't have the parking. We got that, all they have is just that little parking lot down there. So I think it's a couple hundred cars, that's it. I mean, you know, they could bring in 2 or 3 different functions at a time. It just, so all that makes sense, and I think it's, they're thinking outside the box. They're thinking of the future of the city. That's where they're thinking, and that's where this is all going. Parking's been a problem. It's been an issue in the city for a long time. We've talked about paid parking. We've talked about all different types of, and there are some paid parking, you know, in the city. Most of the private parking lots they charge to pay, you know, they charge to park there.
Right.
I'm not quite sure how that's, you know, how that's going to play out in, you know, as far as the, you know, a city, in the city parking lot. That's what they're proposing down there. But again, the concept, I like the concept. I don't mind the concept of the mixed use down there. But I think what's happening here, they're kind of pitting the two against each other, and to me, that's counterproductive. I think the two sides need to get together and maybe talk a little bit more, and maybe there's a way that the city center can work with if we decide to go the other route with the developer, to include their parking deck down there. And again, I know, you know, I discussed before that the fact the city's getting sued, so I get sued, but it is what it is.
Right.
Sometimes no good deed goes unpunished, and that's just the way it is. But
Are there any other issues that you think should be at the center of this election?
well, you know, there's always new things that crop up. Nothing I can really think of right now. I mean, I think we're just doing, you know, what we need to do day by day to keep the city running, to keep the city operational. I think, you know, currently the way things seem to be right now, people seem to be working pretty good together at the city council. So that's something that, you know, is something that's working okay. As far as any other issues, well, you know, I really can't think of any other issues. No, not really. I don't really, you know.
Right.
Unless you have any other questions, I mean,
All right. No, well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
all right, good.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you.
Okay. You know, I did